Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Queen & Company just released another fun sentiment stacker set. This is called Hello, and I think this is my favorite so far since there are so many general sentiments, and that's something I use all the time on my cards. There are 3 word sentiment dies, and they also include the outline. So there's the word hello, wishes, and you. There is a 2 by 3 inch stamp set, and these all work together with the word dies, so you can create a variety of different sentiments on your cards. The one I'm going to be using the most is happy, along with the die hello. I love the sentiment happy hello. There are also 2 6 by 6 paper pads included. The first one is the pattern paper. There are 24 sheets of double-sided paper, and I'm just going to flip through these quickly. There are 12 different designs included in the paper pad. There's a couple of florals, lots of polka dots and stripes, great colors to work throughout the year. It is a little more on the feminine side, but I think there's still enough colors that you could make some masculine cards as well. And then there's also the solids. There's 24 sheets, double-sided papers, and these are not cardstock. This is the same weight as the pattern paper, just in colors that coordinate with that pattern paper. So I love having these to work together. So that's everything that is included in the Hello Sentiment Stacker set. And I do have links provided in the description box if you want to check those out, or any of the other Queen & Company Sentiment Stacker sets. So jumping right into my first set of cards, I'm using a sketch from OWH. It's number 169. And for all of my cards, I am making 2, but I'm only going to show the process of assembling 1 card. I selected the gray floral paper for that background piece, and then I just have a small strip of white pearlescent paper on the bottom. Then I'm adding in a couple other pattern papers. I have that wider striped paper, and then I also cut out a scallop border using one of the teal pattern papers. I used one of Queen & Company's foundation die sets for the circle and also that scallop circle. And then I adhered them to the card all the way to the left, and I had just a little bit hanging off the end. Just flipped over the card and trimmed off that extra so that it's flush to the left-hand side. And I decided to add some twine to the top of the card. And this is some twine that I've had in my room for years. The color matched really nicely with the teals in that pattern paper. I just wrapped it around the top of the card twice, adhered the ends to the back using some red line tape, and then I put a little bit of liquid adhesive on the very top just to make sure that panel isn't going to pull away from the card base. And then I'll tie a bow. I'm going to put it on the right hand side. I'll just snip off the extra of the tails. And now I'm going to work on the sentiment. I cut out the word hello and also that outline piece. I used some of Queen & Company's foam. I have the neutral foam in white for the background, and then the pink glitter foam for the word hello. And Queen & Company's foam is self-adhesive, so all you have to do is remove the backing and stick it down in place. It's really easy to use. And even if you have to reposition part of it, it peels up very easily, at least right away. I've never tested it later on. Now before I adhere the word hello, I want to add some of the stamped sentiments. So I just laid the hello in place, that way I could see where to put the rest of the stamps. So I'm adding happy and also long time no see. So the whole sentiment is happy, hello, long time no see. Thought that was a lot of fun. And then to add some embellishments to my cards, I'm using some of Queen & Company's fun flowers. They have several different colors in a few different sizes. So I'm using the largest yellow and then the medium size white. And I also cut out some leaves. The paper is from that matte solid, and the leaf dies are from Queen & Company's Love Jar add-on kit. It has a bunch of leaves and flowers, and these are the perfect size. So I just put a couple of them around each of the flowers. And to adhere the flowers to my cards, I used some glue dots. So now final finishing touch, I'm going to use some Queen & Company bling. I always bring out an assortment. I love their bling. For this card, I'm using the pink solid Goosebumps. I have the teal petite posies and then also the white ice flowers. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this sketch. Now moving on to my next set of cards. This sketch is from Mojo Monday. It's number 539. A friend recently asked me if this is my favorite sketch since I keep using it again and again. And it is a really fun sketch. I did try to change it up a little bit this time though. If you are interested in any of the sketches I use, I share all of that information on my coordinating blog post, and that link is provided in the description box below. For this card, I'm using that really pretty pink tone-on-tone polka dot paper for the background. Added some more of that gray floral paper for that panel, and I'm layering all of this on some silver cardstock. And this is just some silver mirror cardstock I've had for years. So I did cut out that pink paper using one of Queen & Company's stitched rectangle dies. And before adhering it to that silver mirror paper, I did put a little bit of liquid adhesive just to make sure it wasn't going to pull away later. Instead of just adding the one banner as indicated in the sketch, I decided to add 2. So I have one in this darker teal cardstock and then a smaller one using that light green, or I guess it's more of a light teal. This is from the solid paper. And I'm putting a small piece of cardstock right above where those banners go, since there's a little bit of a dip coming off of that floral paper. So just want to make sure it's not going to be noticeable on the card. I'll just adhere both of those banners, just layering them slightly. And I wanted to add a little extra detail to the top of the card. So I used one of Queen & Company's scallop dies and cut out just this thin strip using that silver mirror paper. And I'll just adhere it to the top of the card using some liquid adhesive. And before I start working on this sentiment, I'm going to put my card front onto a card base. And then I cut out this scallop circle die cut out of some white pearlescent paper. I'm going to adhere the word "you" to this background. I used some of Queen & Company's glitter paper for the word "you." It's really pretty teal color. I'm not sure if it's still available. I will add a link if I find it on the website though. And then before I adhere it to this white circle die cut, I'm going to add my stamped sentiment. So the whole sentiment will be "thinking of you." And then before adhering the circle, I am going to put a small scrap of cardstock underneath. That way there isn't that noticeable dip on that circle. I'll just adhere that in place with some liquid adhesive. And I did decide to pop up the word "you" using some thin foam squares. I'll just put enough on there so there's good coverage and there isn't one side that droops down at all. And then adhere it right underneath the "thinking of" sentiment. Trying to make sure to get it straight. And then to finish off the card, I'm using an assortment of dies. These are all from Queen & Company's foundation die sets. I think this is set 2 and set 4 that have the circles and the flowers. I cut out the circles using a few different pink papers, and then I have the flowers in this light yellow. And then it wouldn't be a Queen & Company card without some of their beautiful bling. So I have a nice assortment again, using some of the yellow glitter globes in the larger flowers. And I have some yellow ice flower for the center of that smaller yellow flower. And I'll also add some of the teal petite posies and also some blue jelly gems. Whenever I use their bling, I like to have an assortment of sizes. I think it balances out the card a little better. So there are my finished cards, and on that first one that I made off screen, I didn't add that scallop border, but I really like it on the second card. So now moving on to my next set of cards. This sketch is from Mojo Monday. It's number 540, and this is a slimline card, which is so much fun. I've already used this sketch a few times. I haven't made very many slimline cards yet, but I think this one is a little bit smaller than the standard slimline size. This is 7 inches by 3.5 inches, but I think it's a really good size. So I have this beautiful teal floral, not sure what the design is called, for this background. I'm layering it on some cardstock that I have on hand. It matches beautifully. And then I'm layering it again on that glitter teal cardstock. So I'm using some liquid adhesive to make sure it's going to stay in place on that glitter cardstock. So then I'll add this panel onto my card base. I used one of Queen & Company's larger banner dies and cut out that yellow polka dot paper. Thought it would have a little more interest with the banner instead of the rectangle as indicated on the sketch. So I'll adhere this panel and then I can attach this polka dot panel. I did need to trim down my card base just a little bit since I didn't get that background panel perfectly straight. But now I can attach this yellow polka dot banner. And then I also have the white scallop circle die cut. Use some more of that white pearlescent paper. And for this card, I decided to bring in a shaker image from one of Queen & Company's other kits. This is their Under the Sea kit, and I thought this shell would look so pretty in this light yellow. I used their outline die to cut out that background piece, attached the pre-cut foam, just removed the backing since all of their foam is self-adhesive. Then I filled it with an assortment of shaker toppings. These are all by Queen & Company. And now I'm removing that clear backing on the other side of the foam. And I just laid my finger in place just to make sure I didn't spill those toppings everywhere. And then to seal the toppings in place, I attached the pre-cut acetate. And now I can glue on the little shell frame. So I just used some liquid adhesive for that. And then I'll put an acrylic block on top just to let it dry for a little bit. And I did let it sit longer than those quick few seconds. I'll put some liquid adhesive on the very back and attach it to my card. So now I'll start working on this sentiment. I used that light teal solid paper, layered it in some cardstock that I have on hand, just a darker teal. Just put a little scrap of cardstock on the right hand side where it goes off of that yellow polka dot paper. And now I'm going to have the word hello. For this card, I'm not going to use the outline. I'm just going to have the word hello, but I do want to add just a little bit of dimension. So I cut out 2 of them and I'm just gluing them together. So it helps to have some tweezers. These are fairly delicate, but it was still really easy to attach together. So once those are all ready, I can glue them down onto my card. And the word hello does not cut out as one piece. The H is separate. So I'm just using liquid adhesive and I'll just glue that onto my card. And then I've already gone ahead and stamped out the rest of the sentiment. This is from all of us. And I was trying to put a little weight on this card since all you can see is my light reflecting on that acetate. But obviously my tweezers weren't quite heavy enough. For some reason, all of my slimline cards, the card base won't stay fully closed, but the A2 size cards always do. So that's why there's a little bit of light reflecting on that acetate. So now to finish off the card, I'm using an assortment of bling, and this time I also have some of Queen & Company's epoxy dots. This is the yellow polka dot color. Then I'm using the teal petite posies and some more of the blue jelly gems. I really like the teal and yellow colors together, and I think that shaker image worked perfectly on this sketch. These slimline cards are so fun to make. So now moving on to my final set of cards. This sketch is from Sweet Sunday. It's number 269. And I will be changing up this sketch just a bit to work better with the sentiment. So instead of having the vertical sentiment box as indicated in this sketch, I used one of Queen & Company's foundation dies, this stitched rectangle, and I'm going to have it horizontally on the card. For those 3 banners that are on the left-hand side, I used an assortment of the solids, and then the pink is some cardstock that I have on hand. So I'm just layering all of these pieces in this same pink cardstock. I almost attached the banners to the wrong piece. It needs to be attached to this box instead. I first adhered the blue and yellow banner together, and then I attached them to the back of this larger rectangle piece. I used this fun diagonal paper for the background, and then instead of having that thin paper that goes across the card, on the sketch it's about 1/4 of an inch wide, I decided to use one of Queen & Company's border dies. This is from their basic set. It's a wavy border. I thought that would be fun. And I cut that out of one of the solid papers. I'll layer this panel on the pink cardstock. And then before working on the rest of this sentiment and embellishments, I'll just attach my card front onto a card base, leaving just that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. And now to adhere that last small banner, this pink, I'm just laying it on the card first. I put a little bit of adhesive on the back of this rectangle. That way I could get the placement correct. I'll just adhere that to my card. And for the sentiment on this card, I'm using the last word that I haven't used yet. This is wishes. Gone ahead and stamped out best. And I have the background cut out twice. So I have a dark pink cardstock and then one of the light pink papers. And then for the word wishes, I cut this out of the pink glitter paper. I'm going to adhere this onto the light pink paper first. These are very easy to adhere. Sometimes they're a little fiddly, but it lifts up very easily. Make sure to dot my I. And then just to add a little pop of color, I'm going to adhere this piece onto that dark pink cardstock. I'm just going to offset it slightly so you can just see that pink cardstock peeking out from behind. Then I'll put some liquid adhesive on the back and attach it to my card. So now the word best is just nestled in between the W and the H. So I have an assortment of dies. These are all from Queen & Company's foundation die sets, some circles and some stars. And I'm just going to put them around the sentiment, just for some extra interest. Otherwise the card seems fairly plain. I'm putting one circle underneath the W, and then I'll put the other 2 pink circles on that upper right-hand corner. I have the larger one all the way to the right-hand side going off the edge, so I just trimmed that off. And then I'll attach the stars, cut them out using yellow and also the blue paper. Then bringing out Queen & Company's bling. Then I decided to add just a little more interest detail underneath the word wishes. So I just use a very thin piece, about 1/8 of an inch of pink cardstock, and adhere that underneath the word. For the bling, I'm using some more of the yellow polka dot epoxy dots. I have some pink solid goosebumps, the petite posies in teal, and then also some pink jelly jumps. Quite the variety this time. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this sketch. I love all of the pretty colors in this paper collection. It's very cheerful. Now here's just a quick recap of the 8 cards I made using Queen & Company's Hello Sentiment Stacker Set. This is such a fun kit. I know I'm going to be using that Hello die quite a bit on my cards. If you are interested in this kit or any of the other sentiment stacker sets by Queen & Company, I have provided links in the description box below. I'll also add a link at the end of the video showing some of the other cards I made using their other sentiment stacker kits. The Hero set is great for masculine cards, and there's some beautiful floral papers in the Friends Forever kit. I always enjoy using Queen & Company products. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.